Okay, I'm going to save the third bulkhead for the next day's lecture because it's huge. It'll last 45 minutes if it lasts a minute because it's where we put everything together that we've learned. Um, it's just going to be huge, but it's going to be highly detailed. So just so I don't keep you all day today, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and move to floor grading and ceiling grading, um, and instead of the bulkhead. Speaking of bulkheads, um, I went ahead and added an adjustment layer to the comp with scratches layer, made it just a little bit darker in here between the seams since it's recessed. That punches out the illusion of depth just a little bit more. But let's go ahead and get back to this particular bulkhead because all I want, I'm going to start all over again. I'm going to go to the composite beveled. I'm going to select all, copy, create a new one, paste. I'm just going to rotate it just so it doesn't look like we're looking at the same thing all the time. Then I might even just do a transform flip horizontal as well for fun times. So now we're starting off with something else. And this is going to be a real easy one, but let me explain it first what we're doing. I talked about the Nostromo from Alien, and the sequel Aliens. They weren't on a spaceship; they were on a military base or something like that. It was a colony on on an alien planet. But the plot isn't the point. The point is, in both films and in like 500 science fiction films ever since, the floor grates and the ceiling grates have been the same. Um, and I was actually on a budget home science fiction set the other day, um, and it was a recreation of the detention scene from um, Star Wars Episode 4. And it was pointed out to me that the floor grates in the tunnel there were the exact same thing as used in the Nostromo. So you see this quite a bit. That's my point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, this is 800. Hello. Didn't mean to do that. Thought I had the marquee selected. I'm going to make a selection that goes from top to bottom and is 20 pixels wide. And again, I'm just creating a punch out mask here. I'm going to fill that. Bring that over here. You're going to need your ruler for this. So hit Command or Control R. And you want to line this up as close as possible. So I'm going to put my cursor to the extreme left of this bar and bring it out to 200. Actually, not even that. 150. Something's not right here. Let me get rid of these. I did my math wrong again. I apologize. So yeah, every 50. So there's 50, there's 100. I'm going to merge those two down to 150. Just keep bringing these over. Now to 250. Oops, knocked it over one. This time to 400, and that should bring us up. Oops, one more pixel over. And then this guy, actually, let me combine these, and then this guy comes over here. Actually, I think I did the math wrong again. This guy comes over all the way. There is nothing over here. That's right. Okay. Fun with math. See, guess what? That's why IMD and CIT require you to take math courses. You actually do use it in the game design industry. It's a shame I'm not very good at it. So there are our long runner slats, which you'll see here in just a second what that is. And yeah, let's go ahead and double emboss these. Again, this is just a punch out mask. So I'm going to turn it invisible, use it to select the base layer, Control J to punch that out, just like it did with the bolts and the metal strips before. Yeah, I guess I could get rid of that. Now watch, I'll need it again. Every time I get rid of a layer, I wind up needing it again. So now we're just going to do our outer glow. Normal, black, precise, 75%. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, groovy. What I'm going to do though is I'm also going to add an adjustment layer. Levels. I'm going to bring that up. Well, it's not going to let me do that. I'm just going to apply that to the last layer as well. So I'm just going to do levels on this one particular layer here. And lighten that up. Now I'm going to stop right here, and that is a third bulkhead. That is, if you ever see shipping containers, international standard size cargo freight shipping containers, the kind that cargo ships carry, this is what the side of one of those looks like. And I know that just honestly from watching a lot of action films like The Punisher and stuff like that. But in the real world, look it up. Feel free to do a Google image search. You know, that's that reinforced side paneling to a cargo container. And you've probably seen them before. They put them on flatbed trucks after they get off the ship, and you know, drive them all over to the United States. You know, carrying groceries and who knows what else. So that right there, I could stop and say, you know, what, I can actually use that. I'm going to do a composite layer here. Hello. So there's composite, and I could do an adjustment layer on just this hue saturation. I can change the color of it. I was looking for a blue. Where'd it go? There we go. And then bring the saturation down. So there is a blue shipping container. All right, so that's just a little bit of a fun aside there. But I want these two gone, and that was just a side thing there, like I said. I'm going to return to this. I'm going to make a new punch-out mask. And this time it's going to be, let's see, well, these were what, 30? Time to do math again. No, they were 20. 60. So I'm going to do 60 tall. And that's not going to work out mathematically with an 800 pixel tall document. So it's going to wind up being 40, and I'm going to regret it in a minute. But that's all we can do. Because 80 is too, well, let's try 80. So again, fill that. I'm going to bring it down to where it just touches the previous layer. And let's see here. Put a line right there, because in this case, we're not going to be able to just use the arrow keys. We've got to do the math again. And I just got to keep on doing this, which is an incredibly tedious and mind-numbingly boring process, and there's probably an easier way to do it. But you can already see what I'm going for. Just step and repeat, step and repeat. Yep, about as fun as watching paint dry, isn't it? But in the end, that's the payoff. So I'm going to combine those two, select all the pixels, turn it invisible. Let's go ahead and get rid of the punch out layer. Control J to punch those out. And again, we're just going to use the exact same effects. I'm going to lighten those up just a little bit as well. Since I was doing it on the wrong layer. Alright. Right about there, and I am going to lighten this up just a little bit as well. Alright. And then now I'm going to put a levels adjustment layer on the background. Make that almost completely black. Alright. What this is, that's metal slats, little metal beams running north and south, or top to bottom, over these broader metal supports. And if you go to factories, a real life factory, you're going to see this. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some bolts again. This is from this previous lecture. No big revelation here. It's just going to take forever. Very small bolts. And I want them on my top runners here. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. All right, so we'll combine those there, bring it up just a little bit, kind of eyeball it there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. And you'll see the method to the madness here in just a second. Oops, didn't mean to duplicate it that time. All right, so there's the bolts. Now notice how there's not any bolts here. There's 3 and then a gap between the bolts, and then another 3 and then another gap. That's because these bolts are going to bolt or attach this long runner here to the underlying support. And since there's no underlying support here, there's a gap. There's nothing to bolt it to, and that's why there's no bolts there. And again, this is just where, reading books and watching the History Channel and the Smithsonian Channel and the National Geographic Channel, all that stuff comes in handy. All right. Now we're going to bring these over like this. I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm losing my voice. And eyeballing it did not work very well. That's why you need to do math. I'm too tired to do math. And see, if you don't do math, there's just no way you can get this to line up right. That's just the sad, awful truth. In the end, it winds up being more trouble than it's worth. You might as well just do the math. And it really physically hurt me to say that. All right, close enough for government work. So again, this is just a punch out layer. Select all, turn it invisible, go to my vertical, hit Control J, and there it is. And since I already had a layer effect applied to that, it applied it to the bolts as well. So there you have a nice floor grate or ceiling grate. If it's going to be a ceiling grate, or well, if you're using the Nostromo style the Nostromo style of interior spaceship decorating, either the light will be coming from the floor, as is in the case in some movies and some video games, in which case you will have just a pure layer like that has the light shining through it. So if the light is coming from the ceiling, like in most cases it does, that will be your ceiling texture, and that would be your floor texture. Because in a lot of real life industrial environments, they use the exact same paneling for both, but they just put the lights above the grating of the ceiling. So that is another, actually, two textures that we've learned how to do. That's another bulkhead, and that is the floor texture and a ceiling texture. And I'm going to do some other floor textures next, and then we'll get on with the really complicated third or fourth bulkhead. Whatever it is. That's math too, and I'm not going to do that anymore today.